Hello, hello, and welcome back to another episode of Love It or Shove It, where we talk about love and relationship and how can we have better relationship with ourselves and the partners that we have. And if this is the first time you are tuning in, hello. My name is Irina Portnova, and I'm all about the world of manifestation and how can we manifest our best life and best partners. And I'm here today with Bruno Gill, my co host. Bruno, would you like to say a couple of words about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So, my name's Bruno. I am a self-love coach. I help primarily women online, of course. And pretty much what I do is I just, give you motivation, but from that motivation, it comes obviously the a step-by-step plan pretty much, and many, many tips as well on how to become more confident, on how to be more authentic, on how to live life more freely and yeah, and to just love yourself a lot more. I think it comes a lot from the confidence and the amount of reasons that you feel you know worthy of being confident. And so it's really just developing a step-by-step plan, really obviously, to see how we can do it and really how we can make you better, pretty much.
Mhm. Beautiful.
Mm.
So today we have a topic of choose appreciation over agitation. I love that topic because a lot of times our brain focus on what did not work, or like if there is something that we feel that it irritates us in our partner. So I love this conversation because again, when somebody has repeated criticism, it slowly starts showing up in emotional distance because when one partner tells another partner that like even with their tone, with their behavior, about their flaws, about that, like they keep repeating the same thing to them all the time. So what happens, another partner start feeling unsafe, and they stop really showing up. They speak less, they initiate less, they start withdrawing emotionally, and at the end they actually stop trying, because not because that they do not care, but because they are just starting to protect themselves more. So it's very important for us to be aware that criticism, when it's repeating again and again, it start really beating up on the emotional safety and connection. Bruno, what do you think about it?
Yeah, I think that, yes, I think that's true 100%. I think that, but I think that also comes from an idolization of your partner. I think the more you follow somebody and the more you kind of like, you look up to someone, the more they judge you, the more you believe it. Because if you look up to them, you think they always tell the truth and you think they're always right. There's some sort of a hero complex there, right? Meaning like, which is not a bad thing if it's done the right way, right? So, then again, if somebody looks up to you in a marriage, or if somebody looks up to you in a friendship, or if somebody looks up to you for solutions, or for motivation, or for tips, or whatever, you need to be very careful with the words that you can use, because deep down, they're looking for your empathy, but they're also looking for solutions, right? And so if you just give them solutions, but you don't validate their pain and you don't show them any empathy, um, they're gonna feel like it's not good enough. They're still gonna feel lonely, right? Because people are not looking for solutions; they're looking for connection, right? And one of the biggest problems as well with a lot of like high achieving people, high performers, is that the more you go through, the less empathy you have for people, right? People don't go like, "Oh, I understand your pain." They go like, "Look, man, move. You gotta move. You can't stay like that. You can't stay like that. You need to keep moving. You need to keep moving." When you say you need to keep moving and you dismiss people's feelings, what's happening is that you're just telling them what you wish was told to you, because that's exactly what you told yourself eventually. Because deep down, that's what worked, but not everybody's like you, right? And so that's something you also have to understand. is that not everybody's like you, not everybody works the same way, not everybody functions the same way. Some people want validation for their feelings, and some people feel bad if you dismiss their feelings, even if you give them the solutions, right? Which is completely normal. And so it's important that you validate people's feelings, right? And so showing that appreciation and then giving them the tools is good, and it's way better than not showing any appreciation and still giving them the tools. Because, for example, for us men, a lot of us, we don't need that appreciation as much as we need to the tools, right? For girls is different, right? For women is different. Women want to feel appreciated. Women want to feel that they're being adhered to in terms of attention, right? It's much more attention than tools. For men, it's much less attention, more about tools. Like for women, is like, can you listen to me? For men, is like, can you actually help me, like with tools, so I can fix this for once? Like, so sometimes men approach a situation, when we approach a situation in a marriage or in a friendship, for us, it's not so much about telling them what's wrong, is much, or listening to what's wrong, is much more about, okay, do this, do this, do this, do this. Oh, but I don't want you to tell me what to do, I just want you to listen to me. It's like, yeah, okay, I know, but it's like, if that happens, then men are also not being put in a position of service, because men do not service the world by listening to people about their problems. Men service the world by providing solutions. So when a man is providing solutions to a woman and he's really not listening to her, what ends up happening is that the woman does not have her needs met, because the woman also does not understand how the men work, right? And so men also don't understand how women work, right? And so so I guess the better you understand the physiology and kind of the psychology of each gender, and and in this case also the psychology and the physiology of your partner, the better you're going to do in marriage, pretty much. So
Great point. So I also wanted to talk about a little bit about the patterns that people have, because what we focus on is going to expand in our partner, right? Because that's
mhm,
exactly how our brain is functioning. Our brain starts scanning for the
mhm,
patterns. And whatever we repeatedly look for, we begin to see everywhere.
mhm,
So if the person is
mhm,
focusing on the inconsistency, the emotional blind spots, the things that irritate them, the mind will gather evidence to confirm it, right? We start see more of that from the partner. But if we focus on the effort that the partner is putting on, the kindness, the strengths, the growth, we start training ourselves to see the qualities that we enjoy more. And again,
mhm,
our energy is following our attention. So where we keep the focus on, that's what's going to expand. And in relationship,
mhm,
attention starts shaping the reality that people are experiencing. So this doesn't
mhm,
mean that we ignoring the issues, but it means that we choosing what we want to magnify. And I
mhm,
believe we still can solve a lot of things through the communication, right?
mhm,
When we fine tune and just say, like what we want to say to the person, but always start with something what you appreciate in person, right? Before talking about what is something you think is there for improvement. What do you think?
yeah, absolutely. Then again, like, then again, it comes with appreciation and then tools, right? So for example, if I was to be listening and to be at least to provide the solutions, I wouldn't just provide the solutions right away. I'd say, well, I mean, first of all, I'd ask, so what positives did you take from this experience? And maybe the person says, I don't understand what you're saying, and I'm like, well, there's always, like we talked before, there's always positives in every negative. What positives can you take from this? Let's say the person would name maybe one, two, or three, let's say, right? Say, okay, very good, fantastic. So you should be proud of yourself for not knowing those positive, for not only knowing those positives, by the way, so for knowing those positives, but you should also be proud of yourself because you've done those positives. because you recognize those positives, right? And now you can learn from that, right? And one of, for example, one of them, and then I'd provide with the solutions. But one of the main reasons why a lot of people sometimes they're not really able to get anything good out of a negative situation is because people do not know how to get something good out of a negative situation, because people were untaught how to get something good out of a negative situation, and because people, obviously are primed to think that something bad is 100% bad and something good is 100% good, right? Like there's no in between, like there is no solution for bad, and you know there is it can't get any better. Like people are extremists. People, for some people, most people, they're so emotional, so emotional, so emotional that when the situation is bad, they're like, oh, it can't get any worse than this. It can always get worse, right? You're acting out of emotion. Or it can get any better than this. It can always get better, right? Again, acting out of emotion. And the problem is that people are not so logical. And I feel like if there was a balance between logic and emotion, people would be much better in life. I think marriages would be much better. I think friendships would be much better as well. Um, and and deep down, then again, like to always choose appreciation first and then choose solutions. Don't go straight into the solutions, right? Like don't like, because for example, for me, like I don't need appreciation. And you may say like, oh, that's bullshit. Everybody likes to be appreciated. Everybody wants appreciation. It's like, I didn't say I didn't want it. I didn't say I didn't like it. I said I don't need it. It's two different things, right? I don't need appreciation. Why? Because I know as a man, the appreciation only comes when I do a good job. It only comes when I deserve it, right? Simple. Which is different from women, because a lot of women, they get appreciation for doing nothing simply because they're pretty, and they get used to that, right? Men is not the other. Men don't work like that,
Now
right?
it's also on the
Um,
energetic plane.
yeah.
It's also a
It's
woman
also,
always
yeah, of
can
course.
be, yeah, a woman can always be appreciated because of her energy.
Yeah, absolutely, right. But then again, men isn't like that, right? Men ain't like that. Men, in fact, like 98% of men in the world, they carry trash for a living. They're warehouse workers. Nobody cares about them if they live or die. That's just the plain truth. Only 2% of men, really, honestly, people care about. Other men, other women, girls, boys, teenagers, or whatever. But and so I don't want to make it about this. What I want to make it about is the fact that, then again, because as a man, I had to learn this, right? I had to learn that, look, just because you don't need appreciation does not mean that the people that you are with don't need the appreciation, and you should definitely be giving them the appreciation because they need it. And if they need it, then just give it to them, and then just, yeah, give them the solutions. Like, fucking hell, like it's not that hard to tell them if they did a good job, even if it wasn't perfect or great. It was good, whatever. Just tell them they did a good job, they can do better, and then help them do better. But don't just tell them like the solutions. Like don't just dismiss what they've done, because if what they've done is good and they're looking to you for appreciation and solutions, if you never validate their good work, well then they might never believe what they're doing is enough when they're doing more than enough. So yeah, I guess those things are important.
So I want to touch on another point, talking about admiration, taking it to a next level, because admiration actually builds the attraction, because attraction fades when respect fades. When admiration is present, that polarity actually strengthening. So admiration can be something like when we are saying, I respect you, I value who you are, I see your strong
Mhm.
sides. Because without admiration, couples slide into the roommate energy. And when there is that
Right.
admiration, there is always that spark, especially when it comes to long-term relationship. Attraction is less about something new but more about just like still be present, still admire the person, as you met them, as they grow with you, as they become the better version of themselves, right? So
Right.
when we appreciate our partner, we, like, and our partner is going to mirror that energy, because now they also see that we appreciate them. So they want to also deliver that energy back to us. And
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I just wanted to touch another point on the difference between healthy standards and continuous dissatisfaction. For instance, when we have the healthy standards, it could be something like this. This is something that's important for me, right? I value respect. I want the consistency. But the satisfaction could be something like, it's never enough. Why aren't you more like blah blah blah? You always fall short, right? So again, especially the keywords never or always, these are the things that we want to learn how to stay away from, because
Mm-hmm.
when people have healthy standards, it invites each other growth. And when
Mm-hmm.
people are chronically complaining, they create more defeat, because one person can say, I believe in us, when the other person can say, you are failing, right? And when we just even say these sentences, they have different charge to that.
Right.
So the idea of this conversation is all about that love grows where appreciation lives. And
Mm.
agitation may feel justified in the moment, right? When we are actually more in our emotions. But appreciation
Mm.
builds the foundation that keeps love alive. What do
Mm.
you think? What do you think, Bruno?
Yeah. I mean, appreciate. So love is the foundation, but appreciation keeps the love alive. I mean, I don't know. I think like there's things that are way more important than appreciation. But then again, yeah. I mean, I think like I think what keeps love alive is consistency, not so much appreciation. I think consistency as a whole, you can implement that to appreciation, you can implement that to communication, you can implement that to patience, you can implement that to priorities, you can implement that to to loyalty. You can consistency can be implemented to everything, you know, and that way you can almost fit everything in the same category, right? Um, I think instead of like I don't think I think it's gonna sound the exact same. I'm gonna try and make myself understandable, but I think instead of what keep I think what keeps love alive is not the action, but is the act of. You know, it's not so much the subcategory, but the entire category where you can fit in like all the things that you can be consistent on. You know, and so that's not just appreciation. I think for me, it's a combo of factors that you can be consistent on, which means that for me, what does keep the love alive is the consistency, right? It's the act of the consistency, I guess. And yeah, the foundation is love, of course, and love is never enough. We kind of talked about this multiple times in this talk show, like multiple times in multiple different episodes, in multiple different titles, under multiple different categories as well. And honestly, yeah, I mean, I guess it's again the consistency, right? So I don't agree when again, each to its own, right? But yeah, I do agree that appreciation is a way to keep the love alive, but it's the consistency of the appreciation plus the consistency of any other things. It's a combo, right? It's a general package. Um, but I guess in the end, the most important thing is that your partner feels right around you and your partner feels emotionally safe around you, and appreciation is a big part of emotional safety, just like the communication, just like and that's the thing that comes from meeting somebody's wants and needs, right? I mean, look, if your partner's wants and needs don't involve appreciation, then appreciation is something you can give, but honestly it ain't gonna make much of a difference because it's not a part of their wants and needs, and their wants and needs are maybe not the same as yours,
Mhm,
right?
mhm. Yeah.
But if it is, then it does make a big difference, right?
Mhm,
And so sometimes it's the little things. And so I feel like what we need to understand as a whole, right, is um, partners' wants and needs,
mhm,
right? I think what you guys have to do, you guys that are watching it, right? I think what you guys have to do is try to understand as much as you can, your partner's wants and needs, and really see what you can get from that. And so your partner has to understand yours as well, so you know how to treat each other, you know how to adhere to each other. You know what makes them happy, you know what makes them sad, you know what they want to hear after a long day, you know what they want to hear after a calm day, you know what they want to do, where they want to go to, how they want to do it, whatever, so and so forth and so forth. Because if you want things to work, right, you also gotta develop some sort of, I guess, friendship. That's why most relationships, right, in the world, that end up in good, like, last long marriages, are people that were friends before. They were friends before they were boyfriend and girlfriend, and that friendship never got away. The only thing that changed was the sex. It was the living together and stuff, because they continue to be friends, they continue to know each other, understand each other, and treat each other the same way, right? And so that's the thing, there gotta be like a level of, I guess, friendship
mhm.
there, because it's not just about love. So yeah.
Yeah, and I still wanted to add, because when we talk about appreciation over agitation, right? Because I just wanted to
Mm,
close with that statement, because a lot of times this is like the end of, two ends of one thing. So we either can notice partners' effort, partners' good qualities, or we can be agitated when something doesn't work. And again, it's our choice. Whatever we are choosing, that's exactly what's going to expand. So if this episode actually, brought some insights to you, if you feel that this would be useful for somebody else, just share, and we would love to know about what you think about that topic. Just put the comments, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
bye.